divine oh night. Wonderful. It seems I have some company in my parlour. Welcome, I'm Charles, and you all seem to be delightful little coloured balls of light. Hello. Yes, I see all of you over there by the fire. Yes. Who's this over here? I see Robert is in the back on the divan, and Ashcroft. Nice to make your acquaintance. Now, I can, of course, see all of your names. There's Pierre Bemoiras. Wonderful to meet you, Pierre. And Debbie, and just a single letter B, and somebody who's either bowing or having some kind of technical difficulty, and Joe. And Braden, of course. Well, I hope you're staying warm over there. Tonight is, well, it's no exception, beside maybe the way your presence has been conducted to me. Well, you see, I give a yearly recital of one of my favorite stories, A Christmas Carol. But tonight we have some technological accompaniment by the corporation Agile Lens, and they explained it to me, and I'm sure I didn't understand a word. But from what I could gather, it's some sort of, it's a three-dimensional sort of stereoscopic photograph. You know, there were many stereographs of my work, especially the ghosts in 3 dimensions. Very scary. Brain, you don't believe me? Well, it happened. Yes, you can go to the library and find it. And of course, the magic lantern of my youth, a kind of projection device. There were many versions of A Christmas Carol with phantasmagoria up on the screen. Well, tonight's presentation is a kind of stereoscopic magic lantern show. Well, that's what they tell me, anyway, because I think they got tired of explaining it. But what that means is that through some kind of transmutation in the astral projector, your presence has been brought across this plane, and we can now share a 3-dimensional magic lantern slide together. Isn't that remarkable? Sure, yes, you agree with me. And Cedric there, and Twist, well, it seems like you've seen it all, my friend. You're not impressed in the least. And you, I think, have an auto-generated name. So go ahead and write to me. Not only that, but you can write anything you want. It doesn't have to be your name. It's a bit of a small kind of communication, but we will allow some vocal questions after the show. Your voice will be transmuted across the astral plane as well as your text and the direction of your sprightly presence, let's say. Hello there. Now, this being a sort of technological presentation with new technology, well, you must be prepared for the worst. Yes, we've had a few incidents, much more harmless than in my day, where the magic lantern, using the limelight, would typically burn down the theatres. Yes, horrible, really. But, of course, well, there's no trouble about that, according to our projectionist Kevin, who's outside of the magic lantern projection now. Can you hear us, Kevin? Hello?
Yes, I'm right here. Can you hear me, Charles?
Can indeed. All our friends here want to know what they should do in case the magic lantern explodes or whatever.
Of course. While we do not expect that we will have any kind of tech issues, any of you who work in VR regularly will attest it is in our best interest to be open to the possibility that we may encounter some. And if you do, we have a very simple process. We ask that you give it 5 to 10 seconds to see if it catches itself up for you. Largely, if you're experiencing tech issues, what you'll experience is the scene has frozen or a piece of furniture has remained from one scene to the next. Otherwise, you might hear people talking but see no animation from their avatars. In any of those cases, we ask you give it 5 to 10 seconds, see if anything happens. It should catch itself up. If it doesn't, simply exit the app and re-enter, and you should be caught up. Worst case scenario is you'll miss a couple of seconds of the show. If none of those work, then we'll ask you to restart your headset and jump back in. Same thing. It should be an extra 45 seconds or so that you'll miss. And if none of that is working, please jump into the Discord in the XR Live channel to speak to us on the Christmas Carol VR thread. And we are waiting there with happy fingers to tell you all of the best solutions to your problems. So thank you so much. Charles, have a wonderful recital.
Oh, yes, I do hope that happens. See, simple. Entirely simple. No, it wasn't. Well, Despite all the odds, we appear to be here, sharing this moment together. Braden there, back in my elegant armchair. Yes, look ready to dive into it, Tom. Oh, yes, adjusting yourself. And then Zim, hello and welcome. I see you're a late comer. Wonderful. Oh, you're welcome as well, whoever that was. Now, before we begin, of course, now that you are not attending as, let's say, a normal human being would, you have a sort of sprightly astral project. Hello there, Cedric. B. Welcome to the lectern. Yes, do you feel more important? You look it, maybe. Maybe it's just that sort of cheery turquoise glow about you. Before we begin, you, as a sprite, can experience this story in a numerous amount of ways, I'm told. Yes, you have a bit of a fairy light there in front of you. Now, that only appears to you. That's your personal bit of fairy, and if you want to use it to examine the show, it won't ruin for anybody else. This has been well decided. Yes, I can hear you as well. Thank you. Sorry, this place is a bit haunted, I think. I hate to say it. In fact, that brings me to my next question. Now, this is a Christmas story, of course, so who here enjoys the holidays and finds it fills them with jolliness and cheer? Okay, nobody. Not Rob. Okay, one person, Robert. Well, you know, that's not unusual. Yes. The holidays are in the depths of winter. Oh, dear, Ashcroft just fell through the floor. Well, perhaps there's something deep down dark below that he knows that I don't. Well, you see, acknowledging the darkness of the holiday time is what can make it cheerful again. So as long as we're here together, and this moment could end any second, as far as I understand, let's use it, shall we? Who here believes in visions from beyond the veil? Anyone here? Oh, Chris and Braden, Zim. I see Ashcroft, Cedric. A little, maybe. You're not going to rule it out, Cedric. I see you're a bit of a skeptic, but you're not close-minded. I like that about you, Cedric. And what about you, Pia? You stood completely still. That's fine. Unfazed, I would feel like. You're an old hat at this. All right, well, I'll stick by you then. Well. Oh, and yes, as a sprite as well, you can move all about in a myriad of ways. You could even grow larger than the tallest buildings or smaller than a gnat. Ha! Can you believe it? I envy you a bit. Well, don't envy that poor automaton version of me you talked to at the end. Even that unsettles me a bit. I don't know what kind of experience you had, but I think that covers it. So without further ado, is everyone ready? Oh, hello, Whitmore. Remember, you can enter your name, blah, blah, blah. If you need any help, just type in anything you want along the way. I'll try to attend. Is everyone ready? Nod your head if you are. Shake your head if you need one more moment. All right. Well, if we lose anyone, I'll try to pick up where we left off and try to accommodate as I can. Now, since we are ready, without further ado, let's begin. Marley, hello, Edmund, was dead. To begin with, this must be distinctly understood, Joe, or nothing wonderful can come of the story I'm about to relate. Now, Scrooge never painted out old Marley's name. There it stood for years afterwards above the warehouse door. Scrooge and Marley. Oh, dear, he was a tight-fisted hand at the grindstone, Scrooge. No wind, Lisa. As you can see, he's quite... Oh, you disappeared. Don't run away. Did I scare you? Sorry, Lisa. Yes, you don't have to interact in this show, you know. You can stand back and observe. It's perfectly up to you. No wind that blew was bitterer than he. Nobody ever stopped him in the street to say, "Oh, gladsome looks. Ah, my dear Scrooge, how are you? When will you come to see me?" Ah! Oh, my. What did Scrooge care? That was the very thing he liked, to ease his way along the crowded paths of life, warning all human sympathy to keep its distance. Keep its distance. Well, shall we begin traditionally, Zim? Once upon a time, of all the good days of the year, on Christmas Eve, old Scrooge sat busy in his counting house. Now his door was open that he might keep an eye upon his clerk, who in the next cell beyond was copying letters. Now Scrooge had a very small fire, but the clerk's fire was so very much smaller that it looked like one coal. "A Merry Christmas, Uncle! God save you!" Now, this was the voice of Scrooge's nephew. He entered sort of from this area, so, excuse me, I'm going to walk through you, Ashcroft. I don't mind if you don't, yes? Good, consensual, wonderful, okay. I got a chill. I didn't expect that. "Merry Christmas, Uncle! God save you!" Now, as I said before, this was the voice of Scrooge's nephew, who came upon him so quickly that this was the first intimation he had of his approach. Bah! Humbug. Christmas a humbug, Uncle? Surely you don't mean that. I do. What right have you to be merry? You're poor enough. Oh, well, come then. What right have you to be dismal? You're rich enough. If I could work my will, then every idiot who goes about with "Oh, Merry Christmas" on their lips should be boiled in their own pudding and buried with a stake of holly through their heart. Keep Christmas in your own way and let me keep it in mine. Keep it? But you don't keep it. Let me leave it alone, then. What good may it do you? Oh, don't be angry, Uncle. Come, dine with us tomorrow. I want nothing from you. I ask nothing of you. Why cannot we be friends? Good afternoon. Well, it saddens me with all my heart to find you so resolute. But I'll keep my Christmas humor till the last. So, a Merry Christmas, Uncle. Good afternoon. And a Happy New Year. Good afternoon. Oh, a Merry Christmas to you, Bob. Oh, a Merry Christmas to you, good sir. There goes another fellow, my clerk, with 15 shillings a week and a wife and family, talking about a Merry Christmas. I'll retire to Bedlam. This lunatic and letting Scrooge's nephew out. Now I'd let 2 other gentlemen in, sort of same procedure as before. Hensley, thank you for making room for the entrance. Again, I really don't mind if you're in the way. It really doesn't bother me a bit. Now, these 2 gentlemen, well, they were pleasant to behold, sort of portly, Ashcroft, and now they stood and they took off their hats, tipped them, and now addressed him formally. Scrooge and Marley, as I presume, have I the pleasure of addressing Mr. Scrooge or Mr. Marley? Mr. Marley has been dead these 7 years. Well, Mr. Scrooge, it is more than usually desirable at the current time of year that a few of us should make some accommodation for the poor and destitute who suffer greatly at the present moment. Many thousands are in want of common necessaries. Yes, sir, many hundreds of thousands are in want of common comforts. So a few of us are endeavouring to buy the poor some meat and drink and means of warmth. Yes. Are there no prisons? Well, plenty of prisons, sir. And the union workhouses, are they still in operation? They are. Still, I wish I could say they were not. Well, I'm very glad to hear it. I was afraid from what you had said before that, something had happened to stop them in their useful course. I don't make merry myself at Christmas, and I can't afford to make idle people merry. I pay for the above institutions that I have mentioned. They cost enough, and those who are badly off must go there. But sir, many can't go there, and many would rather die. If they would rather die, they had better do it and decrease the surplus population. Good afternoon, gentlemen. Well, seeing clearly that it would be useless to pursue their point, the gentlemen withdrew. Meanwhile, well, Chris, as you can see, the fog, the darkness thickened. Well, at length the hour of shutting up the counting-house arrived, and with an ill will, Scrooge dismounted from his stool and tacitly admitted the fact to the expectant clerk. You'll want all day tomorrow, I suppose, Well, if it's quite convenient, sir. It's not convenient. And it's not fair. If I was to stop half a crown for it, you'd think yourself ill-used. I'll be bound, yet you don't think me ill-used when I pay a day's wages for no work. Oh, sorry, it's only once a year, sir. Poor excuse for picking a man's pocket every 25th of December. Yeah, but I suppose you must have the whole day. Be here all the earlier next morning. The clerk promised that he would, and we went home. Now, Scrooge took his usual melancholy dinner and his usual melancholy tavern and went home. Now, he lived in a lowering old pile of a building in a gloomy suite of rooms. Well, hello there, Whitmore. Nice to see you. Remember, that's an auto-generated name. If you want to fill in your whatever name you like or anything you want to say to me at all, feel free. What are you all doing over there? I've got something to show you. Come closer. Yes, whoever you like. Yes, gather round. Now, this is a moving show. You're going to have to get used to it. Now, there was nothing at all particular about the knocker on the door. As you can see there, of course, it was maybe very large, but that was it. So, can anyone explain to me, B? Sorry, I frightened you again. I mean, just trying to build the tension. It's not going to get frightening yet. Explain to me, Lisa, perhaps, or maybe Chris or Pia, how it is that Scrooge, having his key in the lock of the door, saw suddenly in the knocker not a knocker, but Marley's face. Marley's face! As Scrooge looked fixedly at this phenomenon, it was a knocker again. Pooh! Yeah. Well, Scrooge was certainly not a man to be frightened by echoes. But, well, Ooh, sorry, Scrooge. Didn't mean to give you a bump on the noggin. Poor man. He seems almost innocent like this, doesn't he? Almost like a cat. Meow, meow. All right, let's continue. Now, Scrooge was not a man to be frightened by echoes, but he did walk through his rooms just to make sure that all was right. Nothing underneath the bed. Nothing behind the chair. Nothing, in his dressing gown, but you can see there, Tim, of course, that it was hanging up it's a very suspicious attitude against the wall, and of course. That was then that his gaze happened to rest upon a bell. A disused bell that hung in the corner of the room, but it was with an inexplicable dread that he watched this bell begin to swing. It rang out loudly, succeeded by loud clanking noise deep down below. Perhaps that's where Ashcroft read, as if someone were dragging heavy chains over the wine casks in the merchant's cellar. It's humbug still. I won't believe it. Oh, no. What do you want with me?
March.
Who are you?
Ask me who I was.
Well, who were you then? You're particular for a shade.
In life, I was your partner, Jacob Harley. You don't believe me.
I don't.
Why do you doubt your senses?
Oh, because a little thing affects them. A slight disorder of the stomach makes them cheats. Chilly. You might be, I don't know. A bit of undigested beef, or a crumb of cheese, a fragment of an underdone potato. There's more of gravy than of grave about you, whatever you are. Oh, mercy. Dreadful apparition, why do you trouble me?
man of the worldly mind, do you believe in me or not?
I do. I must. You are fettered. Tell me why.
I wear the chains I forged in life. I made it link by link and yard by yard. I girded it on of my own free will, and of my own free will I wore it. Would you know the weight and length of the strong coil you bear yourself? It is a ponderous chain.
Oh, Jacob Marley, tell me more. Speak comfort to me, Jacob.
I am here tonight to warn you that you have yet a chance and hope of escaping my fate. A chance and hope of my procuring Ebenezer.
Yes, you always were a good friend to me. Oh, thank you.
You will be haunted by 3 spirits.
Is that the chance and hope you mentioned, Jacob?
It is.
I think I'd rather not.
Without their visits, you cannot hope to shun the path I tread. Expect the first tomorrow when the bell tolls 1.
Oh, couldn't I have them all at once and have it over with, Jacob?
Expect the second
Uh,
on the next night at the same hour. The third upon the next night when the last stroke of 12 has ceased to vibrate. Look to see me no more. And look that for your own sake you remember what has passed between us.
As the spirit connection began to fade, Scrooge saw that the air was filled with phantoms, wandering hither and thither in restless haste, and moaning as they went. Every one of them wore chain. Yeah, Braden. None were free. Well, whether they faded into mist or mist enshrouded them, he could not tell. But, excuse me, Edmund. Scrooge closed the window, and from the emotion he had undergone, or the fatigue of the day, or his glimpse of the invisible world, went straight to bed without undressing, and fell asleep upon the instant. Well then, that's chapter 1 down. We made it through. Everyone's still with us. Joe, you're still here. Lisa and Braden, we've all made it through. Whitmore, you're new. Gideon B over there. Ashcroft, wonderful. Well, I'm going to take a moment and remember the taste of water, and then we will continue. Oh, it used to be delicious. Now, let's carry on, shall we? Everyone ready? Yeah? No one needs a moment? All right. Then we shall continue. When Scrooge awoke, it was dark. Now he was endeavouring to pierce the darkness when the neighbouring chimes of a church struck. He resolved to lie awake until at length it broke upon his listening ear with a deep, dark, hollow, melancholy one. Light flashed up in the room upon the instant, and the curtains of his bed were drawn aside by the unearthly visitor who drew them. And while it's close to it as I am to him, and I'm much too close, actually. Sorry, I'm going to move. Excuse me, Twist. I'm moving towards the fireplace. You don't want to see an author trod on his work too much, you know. Are you, sir? The spirit who's coming was foretold to me.
I am.
Who and what are you?
I am the ghost of Christmas past.
Long past?
No, you are past.
Well, I'm much obliged, but I can't help thinking that a night of unbroken rest would have been more conducive to that end.
You're well spinner.
Well, and what? Well, what business brings you here? I understand. All right.
You're well spinner.
All right. Now, as the words were spoken, they passed through the window and found themselves on an open country road with fields on either hand. The city had entirely vanished. Now, it was a clear, cold winter evening with snow upon the ground. Oh, good heaven! Oh, I was bred in this place. I was a boy here. Oh.
Your lip is trembling, and what is that upon your cheek?
A pimple. I beg of you, lead me where you will.
You recollect the way?
Oh, remember it. I could walk it blindfolded.
Strange to have forgotten it after so many years. Let us go on.
Now, Scrooge walked along the road, recognizing every gate and post and tree, until at long last a little market town appeared in the distance with its bridge, its church, and winding river.
A school is not quite deserted. A solitary child, neglected by his friends, is left there still.
I know. Oh. Entering the dreary hall, there was a chilly bareness in the place that associated itself, well, somehow, with too much getting up by candlelight and, well, not too much to eat. Well, a door at the back of the house disclosed a long, bare, melancholy room, made barer still by lines of plain desks. And in one of these, a lonely boy was reading near a feeble fire, and Scrooge wept to see his poor forgotten self as he used to be. Oh dear. Oh. Suddenly, a man in foreign garments, wonderfully real and distinct to look at, stood outside the window with an axe stuck in his belt and leading by the bridle a donkey laden with wood. Why, it's dear old Ali Baba. It's dear old honest Ali Baba. Yes, I remember one Christmas time when yonder child was left all alone. He did come for the first time, just like that. Oh, poor boy. Oh, poor boy. Oh, I wish. Oh, but it's too late now.
What is the matter?
Nothing. Nothing. There was a boy singing a Christmas carol outside my door last night. I should like to have given him something, that's all.
Let us see another Christmas.
This produced an immediate effect. The ghost led him to a certain warehouse door.
Do you know it?
Know it. I know it. I was apprenticed here. Oh, it's old Fezziwig. Oh, bless his heart. Why, it's a Fezziwig alive again. Yo-ho there, Ebenezer. Scrooge's former self, now grown a young man, came briskly in. Hiley-ho, my lad. Oh, no more work tonight. Christmas Eve, Ebenezer. Highly ho, my lord, clear away. Let's have lots of room here. Oh, there was nothing they wouldn't have cleared away with old Fezziwig looking on. It was done in a minute. The lamps were trimmed, and the warehouse was as bright a ballroom as you would desire to see, and upon a winter's night. Oh, in came a fiddler with a music book. In came Mrs. Fezziwig, one vast, substantial smile. In came the 3 Ms. Fezziwigs, and in came the 6 young followers whose hearts they broke. In came all the young men and all the young women employed in the business, and away they all went, 20 couples at once, round and round. During the whole of this, Scrooge acted like a man out of his wits. His heart and soul were in the former scene, and with his former self. He remembered everything. He remembered everything, enjoyed everything, and he underwent the strangest agitation.
A small matter to make these silly folks so filled with gratitude.
Small?
Well, is it not? He has spent but a few pounds of your mortal money. Is it so much that he deserves this praise?
Oh, no, it isn't that, Spirit. He has the power to render us happy or unhappy, to make our service light or burdensome, a pleasure or a toil. The happiness he gives is quite as great as if it cost a fortune.
What is the matter?
Nothing particular. I should like to be able to say a word or two to my clerk just now, and that's all.
My time grows short. Quick!
Scrooge again saw himself, but now he was a man in the prime of life. His face had not the harsh lines of later years, but they had begun to show the signs of, care and avarice. Now, by his side, there was a fair young girl in whose eyes there were tears. Jim, this is my star turn, all right? Now, I may be an author, but I'm an amateur thespian, and I've really been working on this one, so I hope you enjoy it. Another idol has displaced me, and if it can comfort you in years to come, as I would have tried to do, I have no just cause to grieve. Oh, no, what idol? No, what idol has displaced you? A golden one. I have seen your nobler aspirations fall off one by one until the master passion, gain, grosses you. Our contract is an old one. It was made when we were both poor and content to be so. You are changed. I release you with a full heart. May you be happy in the life you have chosen. She left him and they parted. No, come back. No. Spirit, show me no more. Conduct me home.
I told you that these were shadows of the things that have been. That they are what they are. Do not bring me.
Remove me. I cannot bear it. Haunt me no longer. Scrooge looked upon the ghost, and seeing that it looked upon him with a face that contained fragments of all of the faces that had shown him, he wrestled with it. Oh dear, that's enough now. Shh. He was conscious of being exhausted and barely had time to reel to bed before he sank into a heavy sleep. Shh, no sleep now. Shh. Oh my. See, as you can see, that gets a little bit violent at the end there. Always surprises me. Well, I think I've got another time for another memory of water. This chapter always arrives a little bit late, so You don't mind everyone doing well? Well, Emerela, I believe you're new. Indeed, maybe you didn't have time to type in your name. Whitmore, again, I don't know who you are. Anyone else? Twist? Ashcroft? Good, we've got everyone. Wonderful. Now, continuing on. Awakening in the middle of a prodigiously tough snore, Scrooge felt that he... Hey, you're on the clock. Come on. Hey. Yes, you, Mr. Grouchy. Come on. Hey. Scrooge felt that he was roused to consciousness in the right nick of time. You're darn right he was. For the special purpose of holding a conference with the second messenger dispatched him. When the bell tolled one and no shape appeared, well, he was taken with a violent fit of trembling. He got up in his slippers and shuffled to the door. Well, we actually can't walk at the same time, so yeah, we'll do the best we can. Shuffle. Well, you have to, suspend your disbelief a little bit. We're doing our best here. There we are. All right. Now, it was his own room. There was no doubt about that, but it had undergone a surprising transformation, from every corner of which it looked a perfect grove from which bright gleaming berries glistened. There sat a jolly giant, glorious to behold.
Come in. Come in and know me better, man.
Scrooge entered timidly, and though the spirit's eyes, as you can see, they were quite clear and kind, he did not like to meet them.
I am the ghost of Christmas present. Look upon me. You've never seen the like of me before.
Never.
You've never walked forth with my older brothers born in these later years?
I'm afraid I have not. Have you had many brothers, Spirit?
More than 1,800.
That's a tremendous family to provide for. Spirit, conduct me where you will. Last night I went forth on compulsion, and I learned a lesson which is working now. Tonight, if you have aught to teach me, let me profit by it.
Grab my robe.
Oh, very well. Ooh. Scrooge did as he was told and held it fast, and he found himself on the streets once again on Christmas morning. The ghost conducted him straight to his clerk's house, and on the threshold of the door the spirit smiled and stopped to bless Bob Cratchit's dwelling. Here? Oh, very well. What is this? Up rose Mrs. Cratchit, dressed but poorly in a twice-turned gown, but brave in ribbons. She laid the cloth, assisted by Belinda Cratchit, second of her daughters. Oh, and now two smaller Cratchits came tearing in, screaming and luxuriating, basking in thoughts of sage and onion. They danced about the table. And then came in little Bob, the father, his clothes that were so threadbare, at least darned up and brushed to look seasonable, and of course, Tiny Tim upon his shoulder. Beaker, hello there. Hadn't seen you. Beaker, alas, for Tiny Tim, he bore a little crutch, and he had his limbs supported by an iron frame. In Victorian times, you know what that means. And how did little Tim behave? As good as gold, and better. You wouldn't believe the strangest things he has told me when he's going home, wouldn't you, Tim? He told me that he said he hoped the people saw him in the church because it might be pleasant for them on Christmas Day to remember who it was that made lame beggars walk and blind men see. Bob's voice was tremulous as he told them this, and trembled even more when he told them that, Tiny Tim is growing strong and hearty. Up rose Mrs. Cratchit to take up the pudding. In half a minute she entered, flushed but smiling proudly. Oh, a wonderful pudding! Everybody had something to say about it, but nobody said that it was at all a small pudding with such a large family. Shh, Chris! Would have been straight heresy to do so. Shh. Oh, well, at last, since wonderful, it's like you're all here at dinner. Hello, Braden. Hello, wonderful. At last the cloth was cleared, the hearth was swept, the fire made up, and the entire Cratchit family drew around the hearth. I'll give you, Mr. Scrooge, the founder of the feast. The founder of the feast, indeed. I wish I had him here. I'd give him a piece of my mind to feast upon, I would. The children. My dear, Christmas Day, It should be Christmas Day, I am sure, on which one drinks the health of such an odious, stingy, unfeeling man as Mr. Scrooge. I'll drink his health, for your sake, in the days, but not for his. Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. He'll be very merry and very happy, I have no doubt. The children drank after her. It was the first of their proceedings which had no heartiness. Scrooge was the ogre of the family. The mere mention of his name cast a dark shadow over the party, which was not dispelled for a full 5 minutes. But after it had passed, they were 10 times merrier than before. Oh, Merry Christmas, my dear. God bless us. God bless us, everyone, said Tiny Tim. Spirit, tell me if Tiny Tim will live.
I see a vacant seat in the poor chimney corner, and a crutch without an owner carefully preserved. If these shadows remain unaltered by the future, the child will die.
No, kind spirit, say he will be spared.
What then? If he be like to die, he had better do it and decrease the surplus population. Man, if man you be in heart, forbear that wicked cant until you know what the surplus is and where it is. Will you decide what men shall live and what men shall die? It might be that, in the sight of heaven, you are more worthless and less fit to live than millions like this poor man's child.
Scrooge bent his head before the ghost's rebuke, and trembling cast his eyes upon the ground. But then Scrooge and the spirit were upon their travels. Many homes they visited, and many places they went, but always with a happy end. They stood by sick beds, and they were cheerful. By poverty, and it was rich. In almshouse, hospital, and jail, and miseries, every refuge the spirit left his blessing. Well, it was a long night. I mean, if it were only a night, but Scrooge had his doubts of this, because the Christmas holiday appeared to pass within the space of time that they passed together. Curious, right, Lisa? Yeah. But then Scrooge looked about him for the ghost and saw it not. You remember the prediction of old Jacob Marley, and as the last stroke of 12 ceased to vibrate, he cast up his eyes to behold a solemn phantom, draped and hooded, coming like a mist along the ground towards him. Are you the ghost of Christmas yet to come? Yes? You are about to show me the shadows of the things that have not happened, but will happen in the time before us. Is that so, Spirit? Yeah. Well, lead on. Lead on. It is precious time to me, I know, and the night is waning fast. Lead on, Spirit. The city seemed to encompass them and spring up about them of its own act. And then, we seemed No, we're all here. It seemed like the spirit connection got loose for a moment, but I think we're all watching, yeah. The spirit directed his attention to a certain knot of businessmen. Well, I don't know much about it either way, said a great fat man with a monstrous chin. Oh, my. I only know he's dead. What has he done with his money? Asked a red-faced gentleman. I haven't heard, said the great fat man with the monstrous chin again. He hasn't left it to me, that's all I know. It's likely to be a very cheap funeral, for upon my life, I don't know of anybody to go to it. Oh, yeah, I know those men. The phantom glided on. Now, Scrooge and the Phantom went into an obscure part of town that Scrooge had never penetrated in before, and sitting in beside a charcoal stove among the wares that he dealt in was a grey-haired rascal. Scrooge and the spirit came into the presence of this man, just as a woman with a heavy bundle slunk into the shop. What odds? What odds then, old Joe? Everybody has a right to take care of themselves. He always did. Ha! That's true indeed. No man more so. Who's the Who's the worse for wear for the loss of a few things like these, Not a dead man, I suppose. If he wanted to keep him after he was alive, then, well, why wasn't he natural in his lifetime? If he had been, he'd have had somebody to watch him when he was struck with death, instead of lying gasping out there alone by himself, gasping out his last. Open up that bundle, old Joe. Let me know the value of it. What do you call this, then? Bed curtains? You don't mean to say that you took 'em down, rings and all, with him lying there? Yes, I do. Why not? He frightened everyone away from him when he was alive to profit us when he was dead. Scrooge. That's me, yes. I'm Scrooge, and I think you've made your point on him, meaning me. Yes, the case of this unhappy man might be my own. Perhaps Scrooge, meaning me, his life tends that way now, yeah? Yeah. Merciful heavens, what is this? Scrooge recoiled in terror of the scene. As you can see, it had changed again. He was looking at a bare, uncurtained bed on which there lay, beneath a ragged sheet, something covered up. And on this bed, unwept, uncared for, was the body of this man. Scrooge looked towards the spirit for explanation, but its steady hand as pointed at the head. Yes, Zim, Edmund, keep a respectful distance, if you don't mind. Spirit, this is a fearful place. In leaving it, I shan't leave its lesson, trust me. Let us go. Oh, I beseech you, let me see some tenderness connected with the death. The Scrooge conducted him through streets, well, now familiar to his feet. Here, watch this. There you are. He found the mother and the children seated around the fire. Quiet. Very quiet. I wouldn't show weak eyes to your father for the world. But I think he's walked a little slower these last few. I've known him to walk. I've known him walk with Tiny Tim upon his shoulder very fast indeed, but he was very light to carry, and his father loved him so that it was no trouble. No trouble. There's your father at the door. Bob was very cheerful with them, and he spoke pleasantly to all the family. Oh, my dears, I wish you could have seen it. Oh, it would have done you good to see how green the place is. But you'll see it often, you know. I promised him that I would walk there on a Sunday. No, my little child, my little child. Spirit, something informs me that our parting moment is at hand. I know it, but I know not how. Tell me whom that man was that we saw lying dead. Spirit conducted him through an iron gate to a churchyard. It stood among the graves and pointed down to one. Spirit, before I draw nearer that stone which you point out, answer me one question. Are these the shadows of the things that will be? Or are they the shadows of the things that may be only? The spirit was immovable as ever, and following the finger read upon the stone of the neglected grave. His own name. Oh, Spirit, why show me this? Why show me this if I am past all hope? No, show me yet that I may change these shadows you have shown me with an alternate I will try to keep the Christmas in my heart. Through all the year, I will live in the past and the present and the future. I will not shut out the lessons that they teach. Oh, tell me I may sponge away the writing on this stone. In his agony, he caught the spectre's robe. The spirit repulsed him, holding up his hands in a last prayer to have his fate reversed. He saw an alteration in the spirit's hood and dress. It dwindled and then collapsed down into a bedpost. Oh, yes, and the bed was his own. The room was his own. Oh, best and happiest of all, the time before him was his own to make amends in. Oh, the spirits all three shall strive within me, I know. Oh, Jacob Marley, heaven and the Christmas time be praised for this. Oh, the shadows of the things that would have been may be dispelled. No, they will be. I know they will. Oh, I'm as merry as a schoolboy. I'm as happy as an angel. I'm as light as a feather. Oh, you there, boy? Yes, you. What day is it today? Yes, today. Well, sir, it's Christmas Day. It's Christmas Day. The spirits have done it all in one night. Do you know the poulterers? Yes, the one at this corner. Do you know if they'd sold the prize turkey? No, not the little one, the big one. Yes, go have them bring it here and go and buy it. Yes, they shan't know who sends it. I'll send it to Bob Cratchit's house. It's twice the size of Tiny Tim. Oh, hello, whoop. Merry Christmas. That's much too big to carry to Camden Town. You must have a cab. the chuckle of which he said this, and the chuckle of which he paid for the cab, and the chuckle of which he recompensed the boy were only to be exceeded by the chuckle with which he sat down breathless in his chair again and chuckled till he cried. He got up all in his best and had not gone far and going out into the street when he came across the portly gentleman who had been in his counting house the day before. Excuse me, yes, you, sir. Yes, I hope you succeeded yesterday. It was very kind of you. And Merry Christmas! Mr. Scrooge? Yes, that is my name. Oh, and I think I must beg your pardon, sir. And will you have the goodness? Dear Mr. Scrooge, are you serious? Oh, yes, not a farthing less. A great many back payments are included in it, I assure you. Yes, sir, I don't know what to say. No, shh, don't say anything. Come and see me. Will you come and see me? I will. Oh, yes, I thank you. Yes, I thank you 50 times. Bless you, sir. In the afternoon, he turned his steps towards his nephew's house. Fred, it is I, your Uncle Scrooge. Girl. I've come to dinner, Fred. Will you let me in? Yes? Now, who's that, huh? Let him in. Why, it's a mercy he didn't shake his arm off. Oh, yes. Oh, he was at home in 5 minutes. Nothing could be heartier. Wonderful party, wonderful games, wonderful unanimity, wonderful happiness. Oh, but he was early at the office next morning. Yes, he was. Oh, if he could only be there when he catch Bob Cratchit coming late. Oh, his hat was off and his pen was scribbling as if he was trying to overtake 9 o'clock. What do you mean by coming here at this time of day? Yeah, yes, sir. I am behind my time. Yeah. You are? Oh, yes, I think you are. Step this way, sir, if you please. Well, it's only once a year, sir. It's only once a year, sir. It shall not be repeated. I was making rather merry yesterday, sir. See here, my fine fellow, I'm not going to stand for this sort of thing any longer, and therefore, I'm about to raise your salary. Yes, I'll raise your salary and endeavor to assist your struggling family, and we shall talk about your affairs this very afternoon over a bowl of smoking Bishop Bob Cratchit. Oh, he did it all. He was as good as his word and more. He was as good a man and as good a friend as the good old city knew. Now, some people, of course, laughed to see the alteration in him, but, well, he let them laugh, and little he heeded them, for, as you can see, his own heart laughed, and that was quite enough for him. He had no further encounter with spirits, and, like yourselves, of course, and Tiny Tim, of course, postscript, who did not die, Zim, all right? You can settle down. He was a second father. Oh, it was always said of him that he knew how to keep Christmas well, if any man alive possessed the knowledge. May that truly be said of us, and all of us. And so, as Tiny Tim observed, God bless us, every one.